Okay, so hello, good evening, and welcome, and thank you everyone for joining us today. And thank you if you're watching the recording, welcome. So today we're going to go through the preparation for our next challenge, which starts next Monday. And it's going to be quite exciting, I feel. No, it is going to be exciting. So we're going to have fun with this. So it's all about metabolism and also about some other things. So if anyone do you have any questions for anything you want to share, first off, of wins that you've had in the last couple of weeks? Because we didn't join together last week because of the holiday. Anyone got a win that they would like to share with us? That it might not be weight, it might be something else that's come
I've
up.
got one, Karen.
Hello, Angela. Good to see you, because I know
Hello,
you can't
dear.
often make it on a Monday.
No, I can't. So I've just popped in for the first half hour. So I've had a big win this week. I've been on and off, and my weight's been going up and down. And when it goes up, I'm feeling ghastly, and when it goes down. And so there's something that I'm eating or drinking that isn't agreeing to my body because I can flip it off quite quickly if I go back strict. So I've got a holiday coming up. So I thought, right, I've really just got to get in the zone and go hard for that. So I thought, what's a good way of getting myself into the zone? So I thought, oh, I'll do a couple of days on broth. So
Oh,
I was out of ketosis. And then so I did one day of strict eating, the next day, a broth day. And then I thought, oh, actually, I'll go water fasting. So I've spent the next 3 days water fasting. So I just broke it this afternoon, or rather this evening, with a nice little bit of broth and then followed by some fish and some wilted greens. So that's amazing. That's really good because so it's
wow.
basically 4 days. So I've only ever made 3 days before, and I've ended up
Mm.
with super, super cold where I had to get into bed with my winter pajamas on and electric blanket and all of this sort of stuff. So I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really good. My ketones are up around about 3.9. Glucose is down to 3.4, which is pretty good considering I was only just in ketosis on my broth day.
Yeah,
So that's a good one for me. So thank you. So I'm
that's
heading into this
fantastic.
challenge full steam ahead.
Awesome.
You
So
look
when do you go on holiday?
amazing, Angela. You
Thank
look
you.
lit up.
Sorry.
You look amazing. You look lit up.
Yeah, I am. I've sort of got rid of a lot of stuff that has been hanging around for years that people who know me well know my history with that. And so I've got rid of a whole lot of stuff with that. And I just think, yeah, it's for me now, you
That's
know,
fantastic.
focus on me. So yeah.
Yeah, well done you. So when did you go on holiday?
It's about 4 weeks.
Oh, cool. So you've got the 30 days of the challenge and then you'll be
Yeah, I
away
can,
and
yeah.
feeling fab.
Absolutely. Yeah. Down
Fantastic.
around about 3.5 to 4 kilos. So I'm just going to ease into the next block. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what your weight is like tomorrow, but also the a few days after, because very often after a water fast, weight doesn't always go down. Even if you feel lighter, just remember, just keep an eye on it. So it'd be really interesting if you can share with us in the group. That would be really interesting
Yeah. Yeah.
because I'm
No, it will be interesting because I mean, obviously, there's a lot of fluid that's lost also too in a fast, but I'm determined to just continue on and keep it
yeah,
um, there. So, this is where a community like this is great because we can lift each other up.
yeah, it's great. So the you might be wondering why when you go on a fast, this isn't Angela. Angela knows this already. Um, but if you go on a fast and you might think, oh yeah, well I'll shed weight and everything, but very often people can go up during a fast. And the reason for that is because the body has gone into healing mode. And when the body goes into healing mode, it brings on inflammatory cytokines where it's healing. So what that means is the inflammatory cytokines goes to the area it's healing and it protects it with a big layer of water. And so consequently, if you do a fast of any description and you're finding that the weight's not coming off the way you think it might, that will be the reason why. Because the body is doing its work. So that's fantastic, Andrew. I'm really excited to find out.
Yeah, it will be interesting tomorrow just to see how things
Julia
go.
says.
But if I'm sticking to your plan or similar, then I'm losing every day, and then I divert, and it goes on in a big rush. So it is interesting. So anyway, so that's my big win of the week.
Yeah. So have you any idea what that food is that you're having on a regular basis?
No, because I've tried. I thought it was pastry, but I don't eat a lot of it, and then I tried it during the week, and it didn't do anything. So I'm just
okay.
It could be, I don't know. I'm going to have to track it down somehow. Yeah, I might even have a session with Julia and see if we can work it out.
The thing about carbohydrates is that it takes longer to show up on the scales than proteins or vegetables that are inflammatory. And so consequently, people can have potatoes and they go, yeah, I had potatoes. And the next day, the weight can even go down. But then it can take 4 to 5 days to show up on the bathroom scales. That's why it's so tricky when you're trialing carbohydrates, is you just trial one a week. Right. So you don't change anything else, and you just try one a week. And of course, pastry is pastry, because some pastries you're going to have suet, some pastries going to be vegetable oil, margarine, for example. So consequently, it's going to, when you're trialing that sort of thing, there's a few things that can be problematic. So so it's actually being very systematic. And Angela, I know you're very systematic, so we can guarantee that you'll do it really well when you
well, we'll sort it out. But it's really just in the weekends, sort of socializing. I mean, it's not a lot of food, and so there's something there that's causing.
It's an oil or a fat.
Sorry?
It's an oil or a fat.
An oil or a fat.
Yeah.
So it must be then something in a product that I'm eating.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. It's good to know.
Honestly, I've had invisible pies, and then I've had 2 kilo pies.
Yeah. And it's like over the weekend, a couple of weekends ago, it was 2 kilos on within 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
sometimes the body tolerates things better as well. It depends what else it's got going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Angela, I've done 2.5 kilos on overnight with just stress.
Yeah.
And then dropped 1.5 kilos the next night because there's less stress, and then dropped the rest.
Right.
Yeah.
It is, I feel, the stress levels probably much more than the food. But if you're reacting to a food and you have stress, then that ramps it all up.
Yeah.
Become far more reactive. Let's face it, when we're stressed, we become far more reactive to everything in our environment, so consequently it's not surprising that internally as well we get reactive.
Yeah.
So that is awesome.
So so I'm really thrilled with that, especially as I didn't have any of that really, not just chilly, it was super, super cold to my bones and my entire body. So all the work that I've done over the years and with you, Karen, and others is certainly pays off in the long run. So it's certainly worth working your way through the program and sticking to it.
Yeah, it really is. And the thing is that
term.
None of us are perfect little angels, let's face it. Wouldn't it be boring if we were? But thing is that if we stick to the process most of the time when it's within our ability, then we're going to get results. And it is consistency, I feel.
Yeah.
I think that's why you've done so well. Okie dokie. Right. I'm going to go into a little bit about the challenge. I've got a little presentation that I quickly created. And so I'm just going to go through that. And so if you've got any questions, please ask in the chat. And I've got lovely Sarah and Julia who will be able to ask me questions as we're going along if we feel the need to. So we're talking about hormones, energy, and rebalance challenge. So basically releasing weight by restoring balance. And of course, we have lovely Rex, who's our brave man who joins us. Rex, this is for you too, because we all have hormones, don't we? And so it's the hormones we're talking about mainly is the stress hormones and insulin, but it's also affecting the sex hormones as well. So estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, we're going to be working over the next few weeks about rebalancing if they need rebalancing, but enhancing them if they don't need rebalancing. So if you're feeling really great, this is going to be a great way of feeling even greater. If you're not feeling too great, then this is going to be a great way of feeling great. So it's all about the way we feel about ourselves in this life, isn't it? And so consequently, this is what we're going to be going through. So I'm going to quickly go through these slides. The slides will be available in our challenge. So I'm going to create another school classroom for the challenge. And so it'll be all of the information, the recordings, and the slides will all be in there. So information, what to do, and everything else will be going in there this week. This is just about information about what we're doing with this process. So it's all about, of course, these programs that we create. If you've not been on one of them before, or you haven't been on one for a while, it's all about understanding your body and what your body is trying to talk to you about. Because this is all, if we think about every single symptom we have, is communication from your body to you. And so, and it's basically not about being really hard on yourself, it's actually giving yourself compassion. And if we do that, then we're going to have a wonderful ride with this body, because this body wants us to be healthy. This body wants us to have energy. This body wants us to be the best we can possibly be. And so if we can give our body the best ingredients we can possibly give, then we're going to be on a roll. And so this is what this challenge is all about. So, and why now? Over the years, I've talked so much about food, and food is the foundations of a good program, but it's much, much more than food, as we know. So the food is all about nutrition and everything else, but it's also, if we have some foods that don't serve us, then basically our hormones will go out of kilter. Because it's stress. Because when we get stressed, the stress hormones that control nearly everything within our body, the hypothalamus, the pineal, the pituitary, the thyroid, the adrenals, they all work together. And if you're having a food that's causing a stress, then that can be part of it. But if you're under a lot of stress, and to be quite honest, over the last few months, I've noticed that many of us are being affected more and more by stress. And so now it's actually time to really dig in and really take control of what the controllables. So we can control the food that we put in our mouths. We can control the water that we put in our mouth and what we put on our body. But we can also control other things like taking ourselves for a walk. Even if you don't have much time, taking yourself out for 5 minutes will make a difference. Grounding yourself will make a difference. All you have to do is really put your feet on the grass, or in the beach if you're lucky enough to be by the beach like I am, or just putting your feet in salt water. That will help ground you. It'll help override the stress hormones. So it's the simple little things that will make all the difference in this life. And so we know that everyone here and everyone who's listening has been on programs and everything. But basically what it is the reason we can't let go of weight is because the body is trying to tell us something. There's all sorts of signals, there's all sorts of information out there that I'm seeing on Facebook and I'm seeing on YouTube and I'm seeing on all of these different platforms. And a lot of it is absolute and utter bunkum. Some of the products that I'm seeing advertised as doctor recommended, all of this sort of stuff. And people are going, oh yeah, that sounds amazing. It's going to help with my metabolism. It's going to help with my energy. And when you look a bit deeper, it's just rubbish. It's not doctor recommended at all because they quote all these studies and you go and try and look up these studies and they don't exist. So the thing is the mixed signals we're getting all the time. We're getting signals that are coming from us, but we're also getting signals from the external world. And the weight loss industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. It's probably in the trillions now. And what we're getting now is we're getting people putting on weight who never used to put on weight before. And that is simply because the stress levels over the last 6 years have gone through the roof. And so what we're doing with this process is that we're getting out of survival mode and into safety mode. And when our body feels safe, we will then start to heal ourselves because the body is putting so much energy into keeping us safe, or what it perceives as us safe, then consequently we basically won't ever drop the weight if we're not feeling safe. I hope this makes sense, because safety is the number one priority for our body. So with this 30 days together, this one, we're going to be working on blood sugars, insulin, stress and cortisols, and also our sex hormones. And I haven't put here, it's testosterone as well, because women need testosterone as well. So basically we're going to be going through that, and we're going to be going through it step by step over the weeks. And I'm not going to be doing too much of this, but we're going to be doing a bit. I'm going to be asking for your feedback, whether you want more of this information or whether you want more conversations together or whether you want more, less, whatever. So we're going to be going through those sorts of things in questions in our school group. And I would really appreciate if you could feedback to me what you need from this 30 days challenge. So challenge or reset or whatever we want to call it. So as I said, energy is everything. And so before your body releases weight, it needs to feel safe, and it also needs to feel like it's got the right nutrition. If we don't have the right nutrition, again, the foundations are not in place. And so consequently, we will not feel safe. And so we need, you've heard me harp on about many nutrients. I'm going to go into those in a minute. But basically, if we don't have the minerals, which are the foundations of our body, then again, the body can't feel safe. So it's a really, really important strategy to help you feel safe. And although you might not feel stressed, although you might feel zen, you might feel like you've been sitting on a mountaintop forever and you feel all meditated, but you're not dropping the weight, then something in your body is causing you stress. So it might not be external stressors. It might be internal stressors. It might be parasites. It might be fungal. It might be bacterial. It might be heavy metals. It might be chemicals. There's a lot of evidence to suggest that the chemicals that we're being sprayed by, or are being sprayed on our food, glyphosate especially, has come to the forefront, and glyphosate can definitely interfere with our gut and the biofilm of the gut especially. And I'll talk about that as well, because the biofilm is a fascinating subject. If you don't know what the biofilm is, I will go into that too, because the biofilm, there's more and more research coming out about biofilm, and basically it's the layer of film within the digestive system wall. And with some, it can get very thick, very sticky, and it protects all of those parasites, those fungus, those bacteria, and it becomes such a thick, rubbery like substance that nothing you take, no antibiotics, no gut bacteria, nothing will move it until you start giving your body the right ingredients. And I'll share more about that later. Okay, right. So, is this you? If this is you, then basically this is your body communicating with you that something needs deeper attention. So, recognizing the signs, well, weight not shifting, afternoon energy crashes, poor or broken sleep. So, you might go off to sleep really quickly, but you wake up in the middle of the night and then you can't get back to sleep. Or you don't feel rested, even if you have a good night's sleep, but you don't feel like you've had a sleep at all. You wake up in the morning feeling groggy. And so also hormonal fluctuations. So if you're going through the menopause or have been through the menopause, but you're still getting menopausal symptoms like hot flushes and mood swings and bloating and that sort of thing, then that means that your body is trying to share with you. Also, persistent cravings. If you get a pull towards sugar, salt, or comfort foods at certain times. So with women especially, with your cycle, is, if anyone here is still having periods and things, the best time to start this, it might not be when we officially start next week, because the best time to start anything like this, whether it's this program or any other program, the best time to start is the day after your period finishes. The reason is estrogen loves us to be in ketosis. So you have higher estrogen after your period finishes or towards the end of your period. So estrogen loves us, loves it, loves this process. But if you tried starting from the middle of your cycle towards the end of your cycle, you might find that you crave lots of sugars. And the reason is progesterone loves sugar. But if you've done 2 weeks before your period, sort of in the middle of your cycle, then basically you will find that you can overcome those sugar cravings. I hope that makes sense to you. Okay, this is not a diet. Anyone who knows me knows that we don't diet. We're doing a food program. We're not here to take things away from you. We're actually here to share with you the best conditions to drop weight. And the best conditions is to low inflammation. So we give you the low inflammatory food list. That's in the school. The low inflammatory food list is basically I've been using this low inflammatory food list for nearly 20 years now, and it works. So you follow that. And basically, because it stops inflammation, which stops the stress hormones from food. And we're also working with that is stabilizing your blood sugars. So stabilizing your blood sugars, to do that, intermittent fasting I've found is the best way of doing it. And so consequently, it really, really helps to stabilize your blood sugars. We cut out the sugars, we cut out the carbohydrates mainly, and we have protein and good quality fats and a few veggies thrown in. And that helps stabilize your blood sugars. It also takes you into ketosis. And it also, the low inflammatory foods, helps to support your nervous system. So by supporting your nervous system, it takes you out of that fight or flight response. If food is part of the problem, it'll soon show up if it's not food. So, and so we're going to be getting you to really nourish yourself really deeply. For those of you who have been in my world for a while, you know the drill. The drill is make sure you have enough salt. Himalayan salt sol or Celtic salt sol, which is a saturated solution. Again, that's in our school groups. There's a video in there that takes you through how to make a salt sol. And you take a tablespoon in the morning. If you've not done salt sol before, stick a tablespoon in a glass of water in the morning. If you've been doing salt sol for a while, add another tablespoon in the afternoon. And the reason is salt is vital. No matter what you've been told about salt, salt is critical. We need salt to help with nearly everything. And one of the major reasons I feel it's so important is if you don't have enough salt, you will not hydrate your cells. We need salt to help take water into your cellular matrix. If you don't have enough salt, you'll feel like you're drinking water and it's going straight through you. And with the salt, it takes the water into the cells, and then the cells can eliminate toxins. And so consequently, it helps with detoxification. It also helps with blood pressure. It also helps with brain fog. It also helps with so many different things. So salt, 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 salt. And there's nothing new under the sun, they say. And salt is one of the things I'm always going to harp on about. And so the simplicity of this is because it's grounding real nutrition. It's real food. It's food you normally get around the outer rim of the supermarket or from your butchers and greengrocers. So we're going with animal-based nourishment, which is the best form of nutrients you can get, and that is meat and fat, animal fat. And that includes butter, tallow, and fat from duck and things like that. And so basically, we're also removing irritants, and we're also asking you to keep consistent. Try and keep your habits consistent. So in the morning, drink a lot of water. Lunchtime, try and have your lunch around about the same time, because then your body's going to feel safe. It's going to know it's getting food. And then dinner again. So intermittent fasting. So I recommend eating your food between 11 a.m. and 8 p.m. If you've been doing intermittent fasting for a while, then maybe you might want to do it for a little less time. So you might want to have lunch at 1 and maybe have your dinner by 7. It's up to you, really. But for some, it's just the consistency. It's not necessarily the eating window that's important, but it's making sure that you're having that food. Because for many of us, when we've been doing diets for years and years and years, we get afraid of food. Do not be afraid of food. Food is your friend, as long as it's real food, not that pretend stuff they have in the supermarket. A lot of it is not far away from plastic. So, okay. So as I said, we're going to be doing intermittent fasting, but what we have done in the last few weeks is we've introduced a mono fast or a fat fast. And what we'll be doing in between our regular bi-monthly challenges, we're going to be doing little fasting, and I'll also introduce you to fasting if you so want to. So with previously I had a program called the Ultimate Detox, and after 6 weeks of doing what you're going to be doing now for the next 4 weeks, is I got my lovely ladies to do a broth fast, 1 day a week. So they finished eating on Sunday and say 7 o'clock, and then they broth fasted for as long as they wanted. And you could break that fast at 7 o'clock the next night. You'll have done 24 hours. You've had huge amounts of benefits from it. But basically, we won't get you to do that just yet. Because what I've learned over the years, if you try to fast too quickly, you can get yourself into a healing crisis that can be incredibly difficult to get yourself out of it. And so we'll do this slowly. And if you decide, but Karen, I want to know more about fasting and I want to do that, then we can do that too. So it's an important component of health, fasting, but doing it gently, because many of us come from a standard Western diet, which includes a lot of toxic food, and try and fast. And that is not the way to do it. It might feel good for a little bit, but it's not the way to do it. The way to do it is to do it slowly. There's no rush with health. If you try and rush your body, it will resist. So just allow your body to do what it needs to do. We'll give it the right environment. So this is what we're doing, is we're giving it the right environment so that your body can do the work that it needs to do. And I used to say to my clients many eons ago that they needed a month for every year that they'd been sick. Now, most of my clients had been quite sick, but now I believe we need a month for every year we've been on this planet. So whether you're 40, 50, 60, 70 and beyond, it takes that amount of time to really do the deep healing that we can actually do. And it's not hard, it's just being consistent. And so this is why we have the program, and this is why we've got the support, and this is why I do what I do, and Julia does what she does, and Sarah does what she does, because we know that by doing this sort of work on a consistent basis, not all the time, we go on holidays and we do things, but if we do this on a consistent basis, our body will respond and our body will heal. And so that's what we want for you. We want you to be able to heal your body to be able to heal you, just giving it the right ingredients. And so that's what we're doing. So as I talked about magnesium, I haven't talked about magnesium, but magnesium is a critical nutrient, and you've probably heard so much about magnesium, and everyone who's been in my world has heard me talk about magnesium quite a bit. And if you have, you might want to go and make a cup of tea or whatever. But basically, magnesium, we need magnesium for so many actions within our body, but for our weight and our optimum digestion. If we don't have enough magnesium, we don't make perfect insulin. If we don't have perfect insulin, our insulin receptors cannot talk to one another. And so consequently, we get insulin resistance, which can lead to metabolic syndrome, which then leads to diabetes. Also, if we don't have enough magnesium, we don't make enough digestive enzymes. Magnesium is a critical nutrient to make those digestive enzymes. So consequently, if you're magnesium deficient, and the sort of equation is that they reckon that there's over 90% of the human race is magnesium deficient. I don't know how they find that out, but basically, if you're magnesium deficient and you're having the most perfect diet and you're taking the most amazing supplementation, you will not be absorbing it, which is why I get my clients to do transdermal. And I'm going to do a plug for products anyway, but basically, if you look at magnesium and you're taking it and you're not getting the results that you want, the reason is you're not absorbing it. It's really good as a laxative, certain forms, but it's not good if it's a laxative, if it's working as a laxative, it's not being absorbed, it's just irritating the gut. And so the salt and the magnesium support the central nervous system too, and also can help the detox pathways. But we're also going to talk about, we talked in our last challenge quite a bit about the liver, but we're going to go back to that as well, because the liver is a critical part of our health, and not just physical health, but also our emotional health. And so that's an important one that we'll go into. So I'm going to go a lot more into cortisol and why cortisol is so important, and how we need to have enough nutrients to create cortisol. So that includes magnesium, but it also includes salt, and it also includes zinc. Zinc is really important. If you've ever had anything like chronic fatigue, if you've ever really struggled with getting up in the morning, if you struggled with chronic stress, if you're under a lot of stress, then we need to really work on our cortisol levels, and we need to give it enough nutrition, and we need to have resources to help us cope with those stressors. And so we're going to go into that a bit more. So over the next few weeks anyway. So your journey, what to expect. I've put healing is not always linear. It's never linear. It's never what you think it's going to be. It's like you think, oh, right, I've dealt with all of that stuff. I've done the work, and then basically what you'll find is that the old patterns start to release. And so, for example, if you have been working on your liver, and then old pattern starts to release of anger and frustration, and you release those emotions, and then you go deeper, and then you build momentum. And so that is what healing is all about. It's about phases. It's going through, up, down, and roundabout. And so if you do have any discomfort, you don't have to put up with it. It is part of the recalibration, but there are things that we can do to help support it. And that's an important component. So we're here to support you with it. That's what I'm saying, because everyone's uniquely different. We've had unique lives, and we've been exposed to unique things, and we're all unique little snowflakes. And so consequently, that's what we need to that's why we have Julia, Sarah, and also we've got Raywin and Melissa, who's in the States, who doesn't join us on these calls. But they're practitioners who can actually support you. And there's also other practitioners within this group who are brilliant in their own right. And so that's what I want to share with you. So I want you to make a commitment to yourself, to gently commit to your own well-being, and just trust the process. The body works in layers, and so consequently. And share with the group. It really helps. It helps everyone if you share. The more you share, the more you'll get out of it, and the more everyone else will get out of it too, because it's much easier when you share your wins, but also sharing what's going on for you, because someone will come up with something brilliant that will be able to help you, and you'll feel so much better. And you can bet your bottom dollar, if you have something that you're sharing, that someone else will probably have wanted to share it, but haven't felt that they can. And so it'll help them too. So, and focusing on the wins. So every week we get together on Mondays at 7, and we're going to really focus first of all on the wins. So energy, sleep, clarity, mood, and of course, weight. And I want to remind you, the bathroom scales is your friend. It doesn't feel like it at times, I know, but it is your friend. It's feeding back to you what's winning and what's not. And like Angela was saying, I think she's gone now, but Angela was saying at the beginning that she's been on a fast, and we don't know what her weight's like. But as I said, you know, her weight might go up because she's been on a fast, because of what's going on in the body. But basically, it can feed back to us whether the food we're eating is working. So I get you to weigh yourself. So I'd like you to weigh yourself, if you haven't been already, is next Monday morning, weigh yourself, measure yourself, because the measurements are really important. They're so motivating. And also take a picture of yourself, because we need a before and after. I know you won't want to, because no one ever wants to take photos of themselves when they're not feeling good. But take a photo of yourself before and after, and you will look back and you go, wow, haven't I come so far? Because we do forget. We forget the aches and pains. We forget the things that aren't positive. We forget those things. So it's a really important thing to do. There is a charts and everything again in the group. If you can't find it, let me know. And again, you're not
Can I
doing it.
interrupt and just speak to that quickly?
Yes.
Because I had taken measurements, and there's these measurements, those measurements, that weight jumped on the scales. And it wasn't until your book, I love your book because I'm quite visual, so your diary where I can record my information, and it was measure my thighs, which I had never, ever considered in all of the years, over a decade. I don't know how long I've known you, 2 decades. I never measured my thighs. So other measurements had gone up, gone down. And then this book, which I love, guys, far out, that diary, it's not much, pay for it, get it, fill it out. I started measuring my thighs, and oh my goodness, they got so much smaller than all of the other measurements of my body. I had no idea. Like, it just blew my mind. Like, I might lose 2 centimeters here, 2 centimeters there. But then with the thighs, I was like 10 to 11 to 12 centimeters there. So definitely do the measurements, and definitely maybe consider Karen's books or the download on the group. Because it's very uplifting to see that you're losing.
It is. And the thing is it's really quite strange, isn't it? Because when I first started doing the program, we used to do weigh and measures. We used to do weekly ones, and people used to come in and we used to measure the tops of the arms, chest for men, bust, under bust for women, waist, hips, thighs, tops of knees, and calves. The reason I got people to do the calves is because when I dropped all that weight, I had a pair of boots that were really tight. And then after I dropped 25 kilos, they were really swimming on me because I never even thought that I'd have lost it from my calves. And so that's why I introduced those measures. And some people have suggested to do the neck as well. So if you're carrying any weight around your neck, do your neck too. Because I tell you what, when you add up all those centimeters, it's absolutely phenomenal. I had this beautiful lady who came in to the clinic. I only saw her when she first came in because I had staff who used to do it. And then I saw her 6 months later and I didn't recognize her. And then we did her measurements. And I think she'd lost in total something like 2.5 meters in her measurements. And the thing she said was, she said it's feeling really great. She was taking off all her medication. She was on 10 medications. She was just amazing. And anyway, so she said one of the best things that ever happened was when she went on a plane and she no longer needed the seatbelt extension.
Oh.
And I'd never even thought of it. It's like, wow. And so, yeah, so it's just really motivating to get that, to
Yeah.
get those numbers and to go through them. And if you've got a friend who you're doing it with, do measurements together. You know, I would do measurements with all of you guys, but I'm too far away. But basically it'd be fun. It'd make it a weekly thing and just do it. But also come and join us weekly.
But it
So
was something I never thought of, Karen. Like
no,
I did the obvious ones, bust, waist, hips. And it wasn't until you put your book out and I was like, okay, I'll measure my thighs. And
yeah,
I had such like they reduced so much. And it
yeah,
was something that I would never have measured because I would have always just gone bust, waist, hips, because
yeah,
that's the normal.
it
So
is.
definitely people, if you're in the special group that's not on Facebook, download that, do the measurements. Otherwise, if you're a visual person like myself, get the book, it's super cheap. Put your measurements down because it's so rewarding too. And then
Yeah.
jump on here and share what you're up to. Like, yeah, it blew my
How many
mind.
centimeters? How many centimeters you've dropped? We could have a
Hell
competition.
yes. A ton load. I can't tell you tonight. I'd have to dig out my measurements because I moved house.
Yeah.
Blew my mind. Blew my
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah. It is. It's mind blowing how we change.
Yeah,
And it's not been
absolutely.
overnight, has it? And that's the thing. It's not been overnight. So it's actually, and that's what I've realized is that some people do drop weight quick, and there's nothing wrong in that. But often you'll drop quite a bit of weight, and then what will happen is some will get stuck. And that's where you have to dig in and you have to go, right, okay, I'm going to keep on with this because the body will be working on something else. And it won't be letting the weight go until it's worked on something else. And then it will go through and everything will come off again.
And that's also been an absolute mind blow because, look, I've known you for many years, Karen. And I remember at one point you said, as you lose weight and the fat cells start letting go, you might get reactions in your body that you've had previously. And I did. So
Yeah.
as I started to release more fat, more fat, more fat, then I started to get skin reactions from things that I'd had years ago.
Yeah.
And unless you'd have spoken to that, I would never, ever, ever have understood it. But I'm so grateful to your conversation about that.
Yeah. I think,
Yeah,
if anyone has any questions about things, don't hesitate to ask because
yeah,
you might
please do. Like
you
if
might have
if
gathered.
you're cruising and then something happens, holler
Yeah.
at Karen because it might be that it's something that has happened 10 years ago that is
Yeah.
now stored in your fat cells.
Yeah. And the thing is that I love to talk. So, I love to share information I've learned over the years. And it's always such a joy to share. So, yeah. Okay. Right. This is your
Okay.
time. Your body already knows what to do. We're simply here to remove the blocks that have been standing in your way. And so we're not forcing it, we're allowing it. And that makes a big difference, I think, if you just see things as allowing them to happen rather than forcing them to happen. So you have a different mental thing about it. And so it's really important emotionally to engage in this. It's like, right, okay, I would suggest that during this week is you sit down for 5-10 minutes and write down your goals for the next 30 days. What do you intend on letting go? And it's not just weight. It might be, I'm letting go of a bad sleep pattern, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. And when you're in this mode, you can actually manifest anything. So it's not just weight, it's not just health. You're taking control of your life And it's our responsibility to take control of our own lives and our own health. And I keep on saying it all the time, is your health is your wealth. And I'm seeing it time and time again, how people have prioritized getting money and getting things. But when they have health issues, they realize that those things are worth nothing. So it's prioritizing you. So extra support. So I'm going to do my little plug now. So don't forget your drop weight drops. They are magic in the bottle, even though I do say to myself. So they're homeopathic. They're in a salt sol solution, and you put them in your mouth, 6 drops, 3 times a day. Let it swish around a bit. Just don't drink anything for 20 minutes afterwards, and you'll be home. So basically, they're working on bringing down the stress level even more. So they're homeopathic formula that work on the hypothalamus, pineal pituitary, and vicariously thyroid and adrenals. And so consequently, it's going to help with your hormones as well as everything else. And of course, my favorite subject, my magnesium gel. And the magnesium, there we've got a duo, which is the drop weight drops and the magnesium gel. So that I think that's 130 for the two, I think. I'm not sure. It's got $10 off or something. And also what we're going to be doing is over the weeks, we're going to be adding little things in. Suggestions, suggested posts, as they say. And so that's it. That's my sales pitch. And if you're not members, come and join us. It's fun. It's a real worthwhile. It's yeah. So you can either, whoever invited you, you can contact them and they'll send you a link. Okay. Right. Okay. So last but not least, your body's ready. You're ready for the next phase. Whatever phase you're in, it's time. And it's time to commit and time to enjoy feeling better. And so that's me for today. Okay, right. Any questions?
May I throw something in now that your presentation's finished, just before we go to questions?
Yes.
No.
For those of you who don't know my little story, I highly, highly, highly recommend those scales. I know we go on about it, but it really does make all the difference. It is a tool. It is not your enemy. When I first met Karen and started on one of her challenges, I actually had my bathroom scales on Trade Me because every time I got on them, I cried. And Trev had to buy them because other people, so Trev had to buy my scales off me. Anyway, the one time I stopped weighing myself, I gained a lot of weight very quickly because I didn't know what it was. I didn't realize I was going so far off track. And I didn't know my body actually doesn't like too many variations, and that's what happened. It took me a long time to get rid of that. So highly recommend that. And the measurements, often when the scales didn't move, the measurements do. And it can be just what helps you understand that there's more going on than just scales. It's more than just weight. There's emotional stuff. And your body changes. You know, it's the first time I've ever had actual curves on my hips. My whole life, I
Yeah.
thought I had a square body. And the other big tip is the before photos. Get somebody else to take it, front, side, and back, because a little selfie in the mirror just does not do it justice.
No. And you don't have to look at them. You can just put them in a file. Just
Yeah.
put them in a file and just go, and then you can come back to them. I'll share with you a story, actually, Sarah, about one of my earlier clients. And so, for those of you who don't know my story, is I dropped a lot of weight after I developed it was the drop weight drops. And people, friends, clients wanted to do what I was doing. One of my first clients, Tracy, she was a big girl. She was 6 foot, and she was size 12 on top, but she was size 18 on the bottom. And after doing the program, I think she did it for 12 weeks. She'd gone down to size 12 completely. So her body had totally redistributed. And the interesting thing is her mum also did the program, and she was also, pear-shaped, and she totally changed shape too. So it just goes to show that the shape of our body is naturally, well, it is hourglass, isn't it? It's a natural way of being. The apple shape isn't a natural shape. That we can actually change the way our body distributes weight. And another lady had a dowager's hump, like she was really like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, the female version, and that completely went too. And I've seen her. I mean, she was one of my early clients, so 2010, and I've seen her recently, and it's never come back. Isn't it fascinating?
It
The way
is.
the body distributes fat.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to a client the other day about signs of insulin resistance that you may not observe, you may not know. And one of them is skin tags. And the other is browning like skin. And it's often at the back of the neck and in the armpit here, in the elbows and in the armpits. And that's sort of like it's like when the bruise is healing, it sort of goes all speckly. It's really quite interesting. So yeah, so any of those symptoms that you might have, just write them down and note when they go, because it's quite fascinating. You don't see them as a weight thing, but it's definitely intertwined with everything. So yeah. Okay, right. Anyone got any questions or anything else you want to share before we toddle off? Because it's blooming 8 o'clock already. So time flies when we're on here, doesn't it?
I have a question.
Hello, Sue.
Hi. I broke a tooth, and then last week I had the root taken out,
Oh, okay.
and I've noticed that my weight has gone really silly. Like it's like I'll go up, like 0.6 grams one day, and then I might drop 0.1, and then it'll go up again. Is that from the tooth, or I don't know? I don't know what's going on. It's
So
really weird.
you haven't had a root canal though, hey?
No,
Cool.
no,
No.
they took the root out. Yeah,
Right. So and you'd have had an anesthetic?
yes,
That'll be it. That because you'll be your body trying to process and trying to eliminate those things. So
right,
it does take a bit of time for those sorts of things to get out of your body.
right, okay,
You can sort of support it in a way, just take a couple of charcoal each night before going to bed. That'll help support and do a salt wash in the mouth, but the charcoal will benefit hugely.
okay,
Because yeah, your body will be, it takes with those sorts of anesthetics and stuff, the inflammation as well goes up and down depending on what you've eaten and everything else. And so consequently it'll take time for it to sort of the ebbs and flows to stop,
right, okay.
because the inflammatory cytokines in the mouth will be inflaming as it's trying to heal, and then it goes down.
I can
And
still
then
feel
it'll
it.
come up,
It's a bit
yeah, and
sore. Yeah,
it'll be coming up and going down, and so consequently that's what will be going on. So it's just your body doing its work, and that's the
okay.
fascinating thing about the scales. It's like, wow, isn't that interesting?
Mm,
Instead of going, oh, no, and getting, yeah, and yeah, Deb, you're quite right. Dental work can be very traumatic on the body, so it's the stress there as well. So
yeah,
it's all of those things, isn't it, really?
yeah,
Because just going to the dentist is stress enough.
yeah. Financially too.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got all of those things. You've got the thought of going there, you've got the payout, and then you've got the work. Yeah, so you've got all of those stressors going on. Yeah. So just remembering that it's the stress of something happening or a procedure or an argument or, various different things can really impact us. And it's just, that's why a diary is so good, is writing down how you're feeling. And and you don't have to write a whole tome of it. Just write down how you've been feeling the day, or in the morning. You can do it whenever it feels right for you. And I think that's an important component of it all.
Yeah,
Yes.
I always gain at least 600 grams when I'm gardening, after I've done gardening, every time, without fail.
Well, then you know what's caused it, so it's not weight.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah,
You've probably been lifting something. It's that wheelbarrow.
yeah, but in the past I would have just freaked out and blamed the scales and everything else. So,
Yeah.
it can be a number of things. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I think I shared with you before, is that when I was sort of realizing, it was the realization that the scales are so important to this process, is when I dropped all that weight. Because of course, when you drop all that weight, you get a bit concerned that it's going to come back on,
Mm.
And I'd been out for a walk, and this dog came up to me, and seemed very friendly, and I turned my back on it, and it bit me on the bum. And I put on I think it was 1.8 kilos. I have to look back. But it was like, how can that be? How can it put on that much overnight? And it was just the inflammation. Yeah. Because it did hurt. You can laugh now. Yeah. Okay. Right. Any questions? Julia.
No, that was me saying goodbye.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yes, good
You were doing
night.
you were doing the royal wave, were you?
I always do the royal way, even in the school car park. I do the royal
The
way.
royal wave. Well, why not? All right, beautiful souls. Thank you so much. Thank you for your presence, and much love to you all. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you next Monday, if not before. And lots of love to every one of you. Au revoir.
Good night.
Au revoir. Lots of love to all of you.
Good night.
Good
Bye.
night.
Oops, what am I doing?